What it do, snackers and snackettes? This is your boy Gage. You are listening to Snacking and Hanging, the Loading Snacks podcast. We are actually having episode 33 right now. That's only funny because the original episode 33 got a little messed up. But nonetheless, I have the usual suspects here with me. Sin, speak to the people.
Hey, what's going on?
That's exactly what I wanted you to say. I knew you was going to say that. And New Joker,
Yo.
my man, is in the house. I knew you were going to say that too. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about the Sony meeting, which just happened a day ago. We're a day behind that. Where in which Sony invited a bunch of media folks and had probably the shortest press conference in history at their theater, Sony Theater or PlayStation Theater in Times Square in New York, so that they could unveil the new PlayStation 4, which is technically the slim version of the current PlayStation 4, as well as what once was known as the PlayStation Neo, now known as the PlayStation 4 Pro. So, gentlemen, let's start by finding out what you guys think. I care what you think about the slim PS4, but truthfully, there's not a whole lot of news in that, so to speak.
Nope.
So I tell you what, let's do this. I'm just gonna run through what that part of it is, and then we'll get into a little more of the nitty gritty with what once was the Neo. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Like a good idea.
The system formerly known as Neo. So basically, Andrew House came out and spoke about the PlayStation 4, the slimmed down model that got leaked a couple of weeks ago. Is in fact just the PlayStation 4. It's not even really called PlayStation 4 Slim. It is replacing what is currently on the market as the PlayStation 4. So
And
all the components, all the components that were inside of the original PlayStation 4 that released in 2013 are inside of this smaller, more condensed system. It does all of the same things. There really are no changes to it that are significant. Now, I do have some questions that, I'm not so sure about with some of the changes to the size. Like, I'm not positive on whether or not you can still swap out the hard drive. I don't recall that Sony ever actually did the update to allow you to use an external hard drive. So currently, that's a little concerning to me. But other than that, nothing really changed about the system itself, except they removed the optical output, I think, from the back of the system. And I think that's it, really, as far as the physical changes of the system other than size. The controller is a little bit different. It's been slightly updated. They changed the light on the back. Now there's a small bar that's on the top of the touchpad that lights up to let you know based on color which player you are. But outside of that, no real news there. The Slim hits next week on the 15th and retails for $299. Bear that in mind because we're going to come back to that later. The PlayStation 4 Pro is just what it sounds like. It is being touted as the PlayStation 4 for the person who has a 4K TV and wants to get a little bit more oomph out of their games at higher resolutions. It is a more powerful system than what the standard PlayStation 4 is. Does have an optical output on the back. And same controller. Nothing different with that. It is basically the same unit as the PlayStation 4 with an upgraded GPU, CPU, and a faster clock speed. would be the main three differences. I would say. Do you guys agree with that? Did I miss anything?
Nope.
Doesn't sound like it.
Okay. So, before we super duper dive into this and what this means for the industry, and it is releasing November 10th. That's the day after my birthday. Somebody look out, please. It is releasing November 10th this year. It will be priced at $100 more than the new standard PlayStation. It will retail for $399, which is not a bad price. But again, we're gonna dig into all of that. So, gentlemen, I'm gonna start with you, New Joker, because your internet might die. So I'm gonna start with you. Tell me what you think. You just watched the conference, right? Got done with it in full?
I had watched half of it while I was on break at work, but yeah, I just went ahead and watched the whole thing again.
Okay. What do you think?
So, I mean, for what we're getting out of it, I think, HDR now, that was going to be the big thing, but the fact that they're going to push that now also to the current existing PS4, that was kind of like, okay, that works in my favor, okay. But just a little bit of extra power, and things we're going to get from the Pro.
Okay.
I think definitely is going to be a good thing. The price point from where I thought it was going to be, we had talked about this in the past. Mm-hmm. I'm actually very happy. $399. Can't be too mad at that.
No, you cannot.
I was pretty sure they were going to think about doing something a little bit more OC with it.
It's probably a good idea they didn't.
Agree with that. But as much as I wish I could have seen what some of the stuff really truly looked like, but because I lack currently right now thereof a 4K TV.
Right.
I know they uploaded a lot of the video clips, a lot of the game footage and things they did up in 4K where you can stream it right now if you have a 4K enabled television.
Right. Or monitor.
Or monitor, of course.
Yep.
So if you're into they were talking a lot about the internal components and the details and everything it will do. I'll say if you're not the most tech savviest person in the world, some of those words and meanings and things they said probably went way over your head.
I'll be honest with you on that right there. I really think they did that on purpose. They really didn't dig too heavily into components. They didn't actually talk about the power of the system. They didn't actually talk about the specifics of the components of the system at all. Yep. They talked about what it can do and used a lot of technical terms in terms of what it can do, but they never said we're running a NVIDIA GTX core something. None of that ever happened. They never did that. And I think they did that on purpose because the moment they actually say it out loud, all that's going to happen is it will be compared to what Xbox already said the Scorpio is.
Mm-hmm.
So
I fully agree
from what
on
I can tell, what it does do is exactly what the leaked specs said it did. Mm-hmm. Back when the specs leaked. That's, you know what I mean? That's all that's what I got to go by because they didn't actually speak, to those specs. But Mark Cerny, I think, did a good job of kind of trying to come out and say, he did a good job, I think, of giving you the differences in hey, we're used to 1080p, and 1080p has this many pixels, and it looks like this. But 4K has 8 million pixels, and it looks, you know what I mean? They did a good job of kind of trying to break that down and kind of trying to sell you on why 4K is a big deal and why it's important. But they didn't get too technical, I don't think.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't think. So I think that was good. But continue, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. But other than that, just hearing and thinking that, playing games and things like that, especially on a 4K TV, is going to give you a whole nother experience. Is going to be, to me, that's really cool. And the two things, and you're going to be very happy to hear this, Spider-Man, not going to lie, with his suit and everything, just thinking about what that would look like in 4K.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I was happy at the fact we actually got to see some pre-alpha gameplay of Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
That was exciting just in itself, even though it really wasn't all that much from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm happy. I'm happy with what they did for it. One thing that I know they didn't say that has come out as well too, just like you said, Now we know streaming 4K content, not a problem at all. And I think this is another piece to contest that a lot of stuff is going digital. Apparently, it did come out the fact that the PlayStation 4 Pro does not have a actual Ultra Blu-ray player built into it.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake.
And I mean, I understand, we do have the streaming capabilities and we can do 4K and all that, but what does it really hurt to just go ahead and throw it in there, especially with a company like Sony with Blu-ray, seeing as that that's them. You would think that they will put in the 4K Blu-ray player. I just don't understand why they didn't do that.
You would. And I'm going to tell you right now that I think it's a mistake. If they don't do a really, really special job of marketing this the right way, the Xbox One S is absolutely, it's definitely a better deal than the PS4 Slim, than the new PS4, because it's the exact same price.
Right.
But it also streams in 4K, outputs in 4K, does HDR, and has an Ultra Blu-ray player built into it at $299. So with the PlayStation Pro being $100 more than that, and it not having an Ultra Blu-ray player, if you consider what kind of bandwidth it takes to stream 4K, and the amount, there is a lot of content that streams in 4K. There is, by comparison. But still, you know what I'm saying? Like, right. I'm hoping that Sony has a very, very well thought out plan of attack for how they're going to take the 4K content that they have been so big in pushing with their TVs and so forth, and making sure that all of that is available for the Pro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that's an important thing. Sin, what did you think, man?
I thought the conference overall was just boring.
It was.
I mean, yeah, it was extremely boring to me. I was underwhelmed with the with the Pro. Like, how do I put it? Like, there's no need for you to run out and go buy this thing unless you have a 4K TV.
Well, that's for sure.
There's no need for you to go pre-order it, go run out and save your coins. If you have one, if you're going out to buy it, I would say a 4K TV once the Pros come out and you don't have a PlayStation, granted, pick one up with it because you get to see all the, they'll have apps like they said, YouTube and Netflix streaming stuff on it so you can see everything in it. Like, not being able to see what the Spider-Man video was talking about, like, I can't see the 4K while I'm watching it, so okay, that's not doing it for me. HDR, okay, I get it. I see what you were talking about. That, pretty cool with the lighting and all that kind of stuff. The old titles getting updated periodically. Okay, that's cool, but how long is that going to take before, titles, how often they're going to get updated, I should say.
Right.
Older titles. Yeah, I'm not looking... It's not on my radar at all. Like, when mine eventually breaks, which we all know they will do at some point, especially when you game as much as we do, if I have a 4K TV by then, yeah, I'll get it. Or I'll probably just get it just because, all right, yeah, it does, more stuff than the old one does. But I'm not rushing, to go get this thing when it come out. Like, like, I mean, you hit all the points. Like, the S... streaming, got the 4K thing inside of it, all that kind of stuff. Like, no disc player, you know what I mean? Just underwhelmed overall. This is the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion of the conference itself is that Sony, honestly, ever since the original leak, right before E3, Sony has been playing defense. They've been backpedaling, I think. And especially after Microsoft's E3 conference, when they announced the One S. See, I think they were definitely shocked by the announcement of the Scorpio, and I think that definitely, threw them for a loop. But I think now, even the One S, especially at the current price point, really messed them up and hit them in the head, because you come out with a smaller system that's more efficient, you remove the power brick, and you put in an Ultra 4K player that's basically the cheapest one on the market. Does all the same streaming, all that kind of stuff, and it's at the same price point as your regular box is. You would have to either be extremely excited about playing certain games on the PlayStation. You know what I mean? Again, we're not overlooking the fact that the PlayStation 4 is still technically, as far as a game system is concerned, is a more powerful system than the Xbox One S even is. Right? The One S does have some improvements over the original one. There's no doubt. But they're not so improved that I would say it would be worth getting rid of it for getting rid of your old one if you have one, for what those new improvements are. If you're all about, I want to play my games at the highest fidelity available or what have you, then yeah, the PlayStation 4, even the Slim, is a great proposition for what that is. All of that talk, though, 3 years ago about the Xbox One and games being at like 900p instead of being at 1080p, stuff like that, that's exactly where Sony just put themselves. Because the fact of the matter is, I'm going out here and I'm jumping out there on the wire and saying the reason why this isn't called the PlayStation 4K, as a matter of fact, they spoke about 4K in the conference, but they didn't really dwell on it. What they dwelled on more than anything else was HDR. That's what they spent the most time talking about. And the reason why they did that is because the PlayStation 4 Pro does not really do 4K. It is not true 4K. The components in that system can't actually really do full 4K. And it was proven. If you watched the after show, after the actual main press conference, they had their person who they hired to do interviews with, Mark Cerny, who is their chief engineer and all that. He's talking with 3 of their main creators from Sony's own studios. So, Jan Bart Van Beek from Guerrilla Games, like one of the head guys from Insomniac who's working on Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, they had, and one of the guys from Naughty Dog. Like, all 3 of these guys are on stage with him. And the first question my man asked is, what is the real difference as far as power is concerned between the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro? And my man was like, it's actually almost twice as powerful. And he was like, it's actually a little bit more than twice as powerful as the original PlayStation 4, which is a great thing, right? Then he starts to talk about the kind of the fidelity and all that kind of stuff you can get. And then he says, you can almost, and then he pauses like, oh man, I done messed up now. Kind of, sort of. You can almost, you can get really close to 4K. You know what I'm saying? So my man let the cat out of the bag. The system itself, they spent a lot of time talking about things like special algorithms for anti-aliasing that will help improve this, that, and the third, and you know what I'm saying, whatever. And that it basically takes what is almost a 4K picture and up-reses it. So that when you play it on a 4K TV, it's still going to look like 4K. But it's not technically 4K, which is literally the same kind of thing that was happening with this like 900p versus 1080p. You know what I mean? That whole difference thing that Microsoft was dealing with over the last 2 or 3 years, right? So it's not truly doing 4K. Now, can it stream and actually output in 4K for like your YouTube and so forth? Sure. Looks like it, right? But as far as your actual gaming, that's going to be tough. You know what I mean? It's not actually. I mean, yeah, they're up-resing some things. They're bringing some new stuff in. They did say that they're going to do, like, The Last of Us Remastered is going to get the upgrade, you know what I'm saying, for, like, 4K. That's cool. I think they spent a lot of time trying to dwell on reasons why, even if you don't have a 4K TV, this still is going to do so much to increase the fidelity of what you actually get in 1080p. So they talked about stuff like how just the increased power in the system, if you're running 1080p, then running in 1080p mode because the system knows that you're connected to a 1080p TV, you're going to get more lush environments. You're going to see even bigger and better and brighter details, things like that. Like, you're not going to get 4K out of it. You're going to get 1080p. But you're going to get, you know, what you would get out of, say, a nice, powerful PC that you had that runs at 1080p. instead of what you
Right.
were getting out of out of the older PlayStation 4 running at 1080p. So there are some advantages to going with the PlayStation 4 Pro, even if you don't have a 4K TV yet, though you can't take advantage of all of them. So you will see, higher fidelity. It'll still be better. HDR, I mean, it says yes, they're gonna make the old PlayStations HDR capable, which I'm not even positive about how real that's gonna be, because you need HDMI 2.0 to do 4K. You can probably get away with HDR with HDMI 1.4, but I'm not positive on that. I gotta look at that. But the fact of the matter is, even though they talked about stuff like that, even for 1080p, there's no such thing as a 1080p TV that does HDR. So you have to have a 4K TV anyway to take advantage of that HDR. So, and for real, up until like within the last year, I mean, 4K TVs have been available for like 3 or 4 years now. Up until the last year, because HDR is not, and they say it in the conference, HDR is not even a completely.
I caught it when they said that.
It's still in flux.
Like
You know what I mean? There's still two different standards for it, stuff like that. It looks like they're leaning towards one thing, but nonetheless, you could have a 4K TV that doesn't have HDR ability at all.
Sure enough.
Very true right now.
You know what
Very
I mean?
True.
So I know Coop has a 4K TV. I don't know if it does HDR. You know what I mean? I don't know if he knows if it does HDR. You know what I mean? So it's another thing that it's just one of those things where, like, if you don't basically have a brand new TV, you more than likely you're not getting to take advantage of that anyway. So
Exactly what I was saying. Yep.
that additional lighting, stuff like that, really not that big a deal. But I don't think there's anything wrong with doing this. This really, honestly, this feels more like a PlayStation 4.5. You know what I mean? 4.5. Like, this is not, and I think they're trying to stress that this leap isn't a huge leap. You know what I mean? Like, it is a leap. It is different. It's just something extra they threw in there. So if you happen to have a 4K TV, you can get more fidelity and take advantage of, you know what I mean?
Right.
Some newer things.
It's not a generation gap. I think that's the way to say it. It's not a...
Yeah, I mean, it's not. But the funny thing about it is Microsoft is claiming that what they're doing with the Scorpio is also not really... They're still keeping it the same generation, so to speak. You know what I mean?
They're
like,
using
they're saying...
words like teraflops.
Well, they are.
Teraflops.
They are. Which, sounds like a real sloppy dinosaur. But
It does.
but I mean, look, we're more than a year out, expectedly from when the Scorpio is going to drop. We have no idea what price point is going to look like. This does put Sony in a decent position. They sound very weak compared to what the Scorpio is supposed to be. But we also have to keep in mind that, like, the average consumer, people who are not like us, who are really in tune, looking at, like, IGN and stuff like that every day, the average consumer has no idea that there's even a Scorpio coming.
Right.
Right? And while that is the case for a lot of people, I do think that Sony is at a bit of a disadvantage going into the holiday, because if you look at the shelf and you see Xbox One S, Blu-ray, high-definition Blu-ray, 4K, Ultra Blu-ray player, streaming 4K, you know what I mean, at $299. And the only way to get the same thing from Sony is to spend an additional $100. And you have no exclusives. I mean, you have Last Guardian, which is an exclusive from 8 years ago. So,
I was about to say.
So, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you have no exclusives this holiday.
Yeah. It's actually the perfect time for people who already are PlayStation owners to go, if they were waiting to see what the Pro is going to do and maybe upgrade. Now's the perfect time to go get you an Xbox. Go get you a One S.
It really is. I mean, unless you're a diehard Sony fan and you just refuse to get an Xbox, right? Then you go out, you trade in your current PlayStation 4 and take whatever they give you, and you buy a Pro, right? I mean, Maybe you're buying a
Mm-hmm.
Pro for $200. You know what I mean? Maybe you're saving $150 or something like that, and it's not that big of, you know what I mean? It's not that huge of a jump. Maybe you're still
Mm-hmm.
getting a PlayStation 4 Pro for less than it would cost you to buy an Xbox One S. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a possibility, because the only advantage I see Sony having going into this holiday, as far as exclusive stuff, content, is all going to be VR based, which means you're going to have to spend another $400 plus whatever you spend on games to get it, unless you already own games that are getting automatic updates, like
Right.
Battlefront is getting an update, you know what I mean, for VR.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there's the VR thing, but they didn't even really, like, a lot of people, including myself, were just of the mind that, like, this is something that Sony is doing to try to make sure that their VR headset is better. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to take advantage. You won't need the little extra box. This extra power. You know what I mean? And it's going to really help make PlayStation VR better than it would be on the original PlayStation. But they didn't even really talk about that. Like, they
Not at
said
all.
VR, and they were kind of like, we expect that it will give you crisper, cleaner pictures when you play PlayStation VR. They said that joint like they never even plugged one into the Neo.
I'm about to say, what you mean you
Yeah,
expect?
you know what I mean? Like,
Like you didn't test that backstage for you walked
Yeah,
out?
That's
like,
a quick little side eye. Like they did it and something went wrong. Yeah, we expected to give you what you want.
yeah, I mean, you gotta keep in mind that, like, when you're talking HDR and 4K, I mean, clearly the headset that's inside of the PlayStation VR isn't 4K. You know what I mean? So I do have to imagine, right, that part of the reason why you kind of have to play that down is because if you're touting how beautiful all the graphics and improvements and stuff are going to be when you play these games on your TV or whatever, right? Then you strap on this headset for this new experience, and the visuals look like crap by comparison, right? Isn't that going to break? Because they're telling you how now when you play these games, it's like you're actually just looking through a window. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so clean and so clear. Then you're going to
Isn't
strap...
VR supposed to be looking through a window?
Right, you know what I mean?
technically?
Isn't that what VR is supposed to kind of make you feel like
Right.
you're really in it or whatever? And going from looking at that really clean and crisp and clear image that looks like you're looking through a window on your TV to putting this headset on, sure, you're still going to be able to get lost in it and all that kind of stuff, but the fidelity of what you're looking at is going to seem worse than it would if you were actually going from the regular PlayStation 4 to the VR.
Right.
Right? So, while, yeah, it's going to give you more power, and maybe it's a little bit faster, maybe it will be a little crisper and a little more clean, it's certainly you're not going to get 4K out of it. Right? So, I guess you kind of have to play that down so that people aren't like, you know what I mean? Because I just feel like that could be kind of jarring. You know what I mean? Like,
No, that makes sense.
when you play VR, one of the things that the PlayStation 4 does is it allows you to output what you're seeing to the TV screen. So if other people are in the room while you're playing, they can see what you see.
Right.
But, like, if they're looking at it in 4K, you know what I'm saying? And you're looking at it in, like, 1080i. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to be sweet for you when you're playing it, so to speak. So it actually might be a bit of a disadvantage to do it that way. So I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I think the price point is right for what it is. I think if they'd have gone any higher, they'd have got laughed out of the room. Because I don't think, especially without having a 4K Ultra Blu-ray player in their machine, that anything higher than what they're charging for it would have been acceptable. There are a lot of people who are upset on Twitter and so forth, but not that social media and the internet isn't always upset.
Very true.
So, you know, take it with a grain of salt for whatever it is. You know, there's still a lot to be seen with what's going to happen with the Scorpio. I mean, even, like, people from Xbox were tweeting things about, like, yep, we're so proud to be bringing true 4K gaming to the console space. You know what I mean? Like, that's throwing some words out there. And that, when you go back, if you go back and you watch that video that they ran during E3 for the Scorpio, and you listen to what the developers You know what I'm saying? Like Fallout developers and stuff like that were saying when they were talking about this machine,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're talking about. They say true HD. They say true 4K. You know what I mean? Like in that presentation. And I think that's what they're kind of going for. So, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a bad move for Sony, but I certainly don't know that it's the best step in the right direction. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it's being touted as a premium product. I think this is really marketed towards people who actually already own a PlayStation 4. This feels to me like they were almost saying, go get a new TV, preferably a Sony TV, right? And trade in your old PlayStation. You know what I mean? And even if you don't trade in your old PlayStation, go get a Sony TV. You know what I mean? Because we're going to update your old system to do HDR. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it honestly did not feel like they were really giving you great reasons. I don't know if they really showcased why this is necessary. You know, like why you should go get one. If that
That's
makes
probably
sense.
why I feel like that's probably why I feel so underwhelmed. Like I'm looking at like I have no reason to go out and get this thing until I have a TV. If I want one, if I want, because eventually, yes, I'm gonna get a 4K TV. But
Yeah, I mean,
the
again,
system, like,
they did
there's no
say
reason.
a couple of times, like, yeah, this system, if you have a 1080p TV, you are going to get a better picture and higher fidelity and stuff like that. So they did make it sound like if you don't have a 4, they did kind of try to make it sound like, hey, this isn't only for people who have a 4K. It's more for people who have a 4K TV, but it's not only for people who have a 4K TV. If you think you might get a 4K TV the next year or something like that, you might want to go ahead and trade in and get, you know what I mean? Or if you're thinking about getting a PlayStation and you haven't, then this might be, you know what I mean, a good move. It's weird. I think secretly part of this whole thing, again, I think Sony is kind of on their heels right now because while they are definitely leading in the console space, you know, Microsoft took last month with the 1S. Might not be gamers. Might be people who are video files or whatever, want ultra, 4K, cheapest joint on the market. You know, same thing as when the PlayStation 3 came out for Blu-ray. But if you've paid attention to what Sony's been doing over the past couple of weeks, releasing like PlayStation Now to PC, adding an adapter that will allow you to connect your PlayStation 4 controller so you can play from PC. You know what I mean? So now you're streaming games on PC, playing older catalog games on your PC, streaming from your PlayStation 4 to your PC. They haven't announced cross-play or cross-buy for PC, but they certainly seem to be angling themselves to put
into
themselves
the PC market. Yeah.
because and here's what's crazy about that. Obviously, a lot of people saw that happen at E3 with Microsoft. Look, we're doing play anywhere, buy the game once, play on your PC, play on your Xbox. We don't care. You know what I mean? They started to make it sound like and kind of feel like it doesn't really matter to us whether or not you play on the Xbox or you play on your computer.
Right.
As long as you're playing in our ecosystem, you're using Xbox Live, you are, you know what I mean, you're connected with our stuff, and you know what I mean, and you are buying our games, especially our exclusive games. That exclusive now for Microsoft doesn't mean only on Xbox One. Exclusive for Microsoft means you can't play it on Sony. That's what it means. You can't play it on the PlayStation 4, and you can't play it on a Nintendo anything, so to speak.
Right.
That's what the new exclusive for them is. But the other thing about this is when you look at that space and what Microsoft has been doing with that space, and they've been playing in the PC space for a long time as far as software, and they are a software company. And I think Microsoft saw a long time ago, 2012, digital is where it's going, software is where it's at, people are going to want to trade, so they did all that stuff with the system that people hated. We don't want to do that. Don't nobody want to do that. Da-da-da. We want this. We want to be able to trade, blah, 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 whatever. All of that is changing. Probably at a slightly faster pace than anyone who was a naysayer anticipated. And Microsoft seems to be kind of on the forward. Well, it's happening. We told them it was going to happen. So we were kind of already prepared for this. We have some things in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Andrew House, when he was doing an interview about, going to the Neo at the time, right? The code name, and why that was something they were doing. And what they said was, we notice that as a console generation gets older, we lose players over to PC. Like, they leave us and they go to PC. And so we recognize that there is a market of people who, because consoles stay in place for so long, but PCs continue to get more powerful and better, and the gaming experiences on there continue to grow and become progressively better, we begin to lose market share to PCs over the time span of our consoles. And this is like old news. This is going back to like PlayStation 2. You know what I'm saying? This is a lot of data.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you Microsoft saw the same thing, right? And said, okay, well, we still want to have a console, but PC is where it is. So they began to realize, well, if we want to compete and not lose PC, Microsoft's like, well, we're good. We'll just do cross-buy. You know what I'm saying? Buy it once, you got it on both. You know what I mean? I'm listening to people go, well, I'm good. I don't really need an Xbox One S, because when I buy Gears of War 4, I'm going to play it in 4K on my PC that I already own that does it. That outputs at 60 frames a second and does true 4K. And I have that connected to my TV anyway that does 4K. So Sony's kind of against the wall, and they kind of need to do the same thing. They're going after that same audience, and now they're behind the 8-ball. That's my opinion on this. Price point, right where it needs to be, because any higher, you're in trouble. Any lower, it doesn't feel like Pro. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you kind of have to, I think, truthfully, though, the smartest thing for them to do, they should have taken $50 off the price of the new PlayStation 4. They should have made it $250. They should have made it $250 instead of making it the exact same price as the Xbox One S. Because literally, if you look at those two items, the Xbox One S is definitely a better deal. Straight up, more bang for your buck. You can't go buy PSN and Xbox Live now. They're both the same price. They're both $60 a year if you want to play online. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you don't have that anymore. And PlayStation definitely been garbage over the past few months, like with their PlayStation Plus games. They haven't really been giving out great games. A lot of people have been complaining. Microsoft's been doing pretty good. They don't always do well, but they've been doing pretty good with what they've been giving you, and especially now that they have this back catalog that they're giving you from the 360. They kind of cooking right now.
Yeah, PlayStation Now needs to go. Like, just start making stuff backwards compatible. Like, paying a monthly fee to play old stuff just...
Yeah, I hate it.
I wonder how many people actually subscribe to PlayStation Now.
I mean, I will tell you this. There's got to be enough people that they're still doing it. Because Sony has a tendency to kind of quietly tuck stuff away when it's just not, you know what I'm saying, when it's just not doing. Like, look at the PlayStation Vita TV. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's one of the coolest things that's come out this entire generation.
Hey, look,
but
I have one upstairs, and it works for exactly why I bought it. I can play my PlayStation in my room.
Right, which is sweet. You know, with the PlayStation in another room. That's sweet. That's perfect. You know what I mean? But again, now you can do it on a PC. And you, couldn't do that before. You could do it on a Vita, and you could do it on through a PlayStation, you know what I mean? But you couldn't do it on a PC, but now you can. Right? So it's kind of like, all right, we're going to have to bite the bullet, and we're going to have to make it so that you can do it on a PC, which I don't know why they were so resistant to do that in the first place. You know what I mean? That was probably one of the other biggest reactions that Microsoft ever got at a press conference when they said you can stream, you know what I mean, from your Xbox directly to your PC. So, I mean, again, it's going to be interesting where this leaves us next year, because the price point on the Scorpio could be ridiculous because it's going to be a powerhouse. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And if you think about, like, Phil Spencer actually said, I don't want to do half steps.
Right.
He said, like, if we're going to do another box, even though it's within this same generation or whatever, I want to go a full-on leap. Like, I want this thing to be, you know what I mean? Like, so he ain't planning on half-stepping, which means to me, price is probably going to be up there. But I think they'd be foolish to come out any higher as far as the price is concerned than what the PlayStation Pro is right now. Next year, Scorpio needs to come out. If it's more than $400, I think they're in trouble. I just do. I don't see any way that system drops and doesn't have an Ultra 4K player on it. However, the cost of those players will probably be a lot less. The cost of the components that they're talking about putting in it that are not going to come out for a year from now are going to be a lot less. Microsoft has the bankroll to take an L, take a loss on it. You know what I mean? And sell this at a higher price, because at that point, they could drop the 1S to $250, maybe $200 if they really feel like, you know what I'm saying, playing ball, maybe $200. But you figure this time next year, you got to see at least a $50 to $100 price drop in the PlayStation 4 Pro, which means that with Microsoft coming out with a brand new system that's going to be as powerful as they're saying it's going to be, you could easily see another $100 price gap between the two, like we did when they first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be bad for them. But they are touting it like it's premium. It's not for everybody. So maybe it won't be. Maybe they're just not going to make very many of them. But I think they thought that's what they was going to have to do with the 1S. And they couldn't keep them. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think it's important and it's smart that they're putting a 1 terabyte hard drive inside the PS4 Pro.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
Definitely.
Again, I need to get more information and find out, can you still swap that hard drive out? Is the biggest you can still put in it only a 2 terabyte? You know what I mean? Like, that right now is probably one of the biggest issues I have with PlayStation 4 is that, while, yeah, you can swap the hard drive and put in a different hard drive if you want to, the biggest you can do is 2 terabytes. I got 5 terabytes connected to my Xbox One now.
Yeah, I got 3 on mine.
External. I had 3. I filled it. I get
know.
down. You know what I'm saying? I get all the way down.
I know.
What? What's a disc? What's a disc? What's that, a Frisbee?
Nah.
Oh, yeah, we can play that.
No, I don't do that.
Yeah. I don't
Collector's
know
edition got to be something real special for me to
Bruh.
shell out for a disc.
Ain't nothing in a special edition gonna make me buy a disc. That joint, listen to me. All right, listen.
Let that Spider-Man collector's
Don't
edition
do that.
drop.
Don't do that.
Let that collector's
Don't do
edition
that.
drop. He gonna have a disc so fast.
Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I will trade that disc back in, bruh, for credit. You know what I'm saying? I will only have the additional components, bruh. That's not. You know, you don't have to do that. You don't have to act like that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying. You gonna buy a disc.
I mean,
you may not keep it, but you gonna purchase one.
I mean, somebody else might purchase it for me.
It's still coming.
Nah, real talk though, I would tell you this though. If
What?
if I bought a joint like that and it had a disc in it, I couldn't trade it until I open it and see what the disc looked like. Because if the disc looked dope, you know what I'm saying? Like if it got Spider-Man on it, I mean, I'm gonna hang it up somewhere or something like that. Like I'm not just gonna give it away. I might need it. So,
It's terrible.
I digress. But listen, I think it's going to be real interesting what this holiday looks like. Again, we'll see how the Slim does when it comes out. It's coming out next week. I mean, again, I think it's cool. It doesn't do anything that the one that's out doesn't do. So I don't see that this is going to do anything to bolster the 40 million that are already out there.
Right.
I can't see anybody trading in their current PlayStation 4 for a Slim.
Right.
I can see people trading in there for a Pro. You know what I'm saying? Just to be like, all right, well, again, it depends on what GameStop or somebody like that decides to do. You know, if they say, well, you know, we'll give you $150, $200 for it. You know, you come in and spend $200 and get a Pro, then it might be worth it. You know, it might really be worth it just to get the additional fidelity you might get on a 1080p TV.
Yeah, I know right now I know GameStop is doing, if you trade in any PS4 and Xbox One system, right now it says you get $125 credit towards any new PS4 system.
Okay.
But it doesn't specifically say as of now PlayStation Pro. It just says any new PS4 system.
Right.
So,
well, any new system. So it's I mean the trick with that is though, think about this for a second. If you traded in your PlayStation 4 and they only gave you $125, right? Unless you were going to get a PS4 Pro. If you were picking between the Slim and the 1S, One S is smashing that joint. You know what I mean? Like, your
Mm-hmm.
game library just has to be worth keeping it. You know what I'm saying, at that point. So, I mean, I don't know. Again, this is one of those things that's kind of about ecosystems. You're already bought into the ecosystem. You know, they did definitely make it. You know, they said we're putting things into place for you to be able to transition the content that you own to your new box. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
you know, I guess there's going to be some kind of rigmarole that you might have to deal with to take care of it. I can't imagine why it would be any more difficult than if you just had to get a new PS4 anyway. You know, like if something happened to your system. But they
Right.
made it sound like you're going to have to do something special. Like when you watched it, you know what I mean, in the conference, it was like, we have things in place for you to be able to, you know, keep your content, you know, whatever. So that's kind of interesting to me. I definitely think we should expect to see Sony maybe at Tokyo Game Show, which is coming up,
TGS.
Paris Games Week,
Yes.
which is coming up, or possibly at PlayStation Experience. But that's not usually until like after Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. Like, it's usually like in December. So that's already going to be after this, but I would not be surprised if we saw Sony say, "Hey, we're launching this new Sony 4K theater thing." You know what I'm saying? But I also have to imagine it will also be some kind of a pay for or rental service or something like that. You know what I mean? Where, yeah, you have it and you can take advantage of it so you can see these things, but it's kind of like, just like you said with PlayStation Now. You don't want to pay to stream these games, you know, that are older. Microsoft is giving you access to games without charging you for them if you already own them.
Right.
But I feel like they kind of need to find a way to do it. That's just where I am. But we also know that while PlayStation is doing well, Sony's still kind of hurting as far as, you know, the monetary value of the company. So, I mean, we have to see how it plays out. But I'm underwhelmed.
Exactly.
I wanted this to be bigger and more powerful. I really did.
I think that's what we all expected.
It's weird. I wanted them to kind of come out swinging, and I know it takes a lot off of it because we got a lot of leaks. You know what I mean? But then it just kind of hurts that all the leaks were right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there were no surprises. You know, like the only real surprise at the conference was Mass Effect 4.
I would say that, and when they said the old PlayStations, we get the HDR upgrade.
So here's the
I didn't
thing.
see that. Okay.
While
Cool.
yes, that was a surprise, it doesn't mean anything.
No, because I don't have a 4K TV, so I can't see it anyway.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't, to the majority of people who have a PlayStation 4, that means absolutely nothing. And if you're a person who has already jumped the gun and bought a 4K TV, then why in the world would you keep your regular PlayStation 4?
4 at that point.
You would go to a Pro. And if you're not going to get rid of your old PlayStation 4 and go to a Pro, then you're adding a Pro. You know what I'm saying? Which means the old PlayStation 4 is probably going on a TV that maybe isn't 4K. Because most people that have multiple TVs in their house don't have multiple 4K TVs. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you got a 4K and you got multiple TVs, you probably have a 4K TV. And it's your showcase TV. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing about that that's tricky is that, let's just say you have a 4K TV. You jumped out and you bought a 4K Blu-ray player, right? Because how else are you getting content? For real. For the most part. Chances are that your PlayStation isn't on that TV. It's on a different TV because you can't get 4K out of it. So you have it on a different TV, you're watching it, you're showcasing it somewhere different. So that when somebody wants to sit down and watch a movie in 4K, it's your theater room or it's your, whatever, they can do it because that's why you got the TV. You don't want to get kicked off the PlayStation because, I mean, unless you have a PlayStation Vita TV somewhere else in the house, you don't want to get kicked off the PlayStation because somebody want to watch a movie in 4K. And when you have a new 4K TV and a 4K Blu-ray player already, you better believe if somebody comes over, you're going to be sitting with them watching it so you can show off what you got.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Come on, dog. Let's watch this old ass movie, but watch it in 4K. Look how good this joint look now. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me Saving Private Ryan in 4K. I bet you when y'all come over here, we sitting down and we watching this old ass movie because it looks so good. You know what I mean? Like, we're not playing games. I'm not leaving the room. I want to be in the room when you bask in the glory of my TV. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, so, nah. So yeah, if you're gonna buy a 4K, a PlayStation 4 Pro, you're gonna put it on that TV, and the old one's going on another, you know, in another room or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, or you swapping it out. But you're not. Even if you put it on that TV, you can only stream. You can't watch no discs. So that's where the Xbox One S goes. Am I tripping?
Very true. No.
Nope, not at all.
Especially for $299. Like, the thing about it is the announcement they made yesterday makes the value of the Xbox One S that much higher. Like, at $299, it was already a great deal for an Ultra 4K Blu-ray player, even if you don't care about games. But now, when the regular PlayStation 4 is the same price as that, stop it. You know what I'm saying? Stop it. You know, like, it just looks, and it's gorgeous. It's white and gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? Because the new PlayStation 4 looks so cheesy. It doesn't look good. It looks cheap. It looks like cheap, terrible plastic. It doesn't look good. It's not meant, like, for your showcase area, looking all sweet, like the original one was, and like the Pro is now, with the triple cheeseburger look.
They did show just add a third floor.
They added a third floor to the joint. Remember I said that, though? I was like, I bet you they get rid of the original PlayStation 4, put out the Slim so that the Slim looks way smaller next to the Pro. I wasn't tripping. That joint is a triple-decker sandwich now.
Nah, that joint's a 3-level office building.
Yeah, buddy. Elevator to the top, please. So, I'm not thrilled about this. What I will say is that you have to remember that I was going to wait for the Neo anyway. I wasn't, you know, I'm like, it's no point in me buying a PlayStation 4 when I know the Neo's coming and it's probably coming this year. I ended up with a PlayStation 4 because somebody sold me one for $100. So if you're telling me right now that I can trade the one I spent $100 on in for $125,
do it in a heartbeat,
and pay the difference to get the Pro right now, it might be worth it for me to go ahead and spend the money I was already thinking about spending to get a Pro in the first place.
True.
So I might get rid of mine
to get a Pro.
Straight up. It's not that deep, though. I own, like, 4 games. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I got way more than that.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, it might be worth it for me to do that. It might not even be worth it. For real, at $125 for what I paid for it, it might actually be worth it since I was thinking about spending that money anyway, to just give it to one of the kids. Be like, here you go. But they won't play it. My kids wouldn't play it.
So when that Spider-Man come out, you have it in 4K.
Well, no, I'm saying I will. Well, I mean, I still gotta get a TV.
I was gonna say that's the only piece of the puzzle that's missing.
I still gotta get a TV. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, right now I'm like, listen to me for a second. I want you to look at this for real, for what this is. We about to do this. You keep bringing my man into the mix. So we about to do this. So I want you to peep game. All right. Spider-Man Homecoming come out next year.
Yep.
Right?
Sure do.
Like springtime. Okay.
Sure do.
Summertime, which means
I know you already reserved a month.
By the time, when Spider-Man Homecoming is ready to drop digitally 4K or on a disc, you bastard, on a disc,
Right.
4K,
Right.
the premium way to watch it will be via an Xbox One S. It won't be through no PlayStation 4 Pro.
True. But the game will. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm just saying that. That's not going to be real 4K. That's going to be almost 4K. Which, truthfully, doesn't really bother me. But it's going to be very interesting what those conversations look like between PlayStation fanboys and Xbox fanboys when the tides are turned next year.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we got the true blah, 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 blah. Remember all that 900 piece that you was talking? Remember that? Like, then it's going to be like, yeah, come on back over here. The water's real warm. Jump in. That's what it's going to be like. And they not jumping. You know what I mean? Like right now, with all the people that own a PlayStation 4, if you've been even considering an Xbox, especially if you want to play some exclusives that are pretty good, you can't play anywhere else other than your PC, now's the time. Now's the time. I would spend that money and go 1S. You, on the other hand, new Joker, you still got to drop like $800.
No, you ain't lying.
And buy a TV. And buy a TV.
Yeah, because I'm keeping my PS4.
Exactly.
Keeping that.
Now wait, I am gonna ask you why you're keeping your PS4 though.
I mean, I told you I have the limited edition, the Batman one.
Yeah. I mean, I get all that. That's cute, but I'm just saying,
that's honestly another thing.
So
too
literally, because you're not gonna play it, it's literally just gonna be a display piece.
That's part of it. But the second thing is, it's gonna go in the TV in the living room.
Okay, I mean that's cool.
Because when I get the 4K TV, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be greedy with that one. That's gonna go in my room.
I understand
because I'm the only one, honestly, that's gonna take full advantage of it anyway.
I know.
But I mean, in the living room, you know, I have a real nice Samsung 8000 for those that are up on those kind of things. I mean, granted, it's a couple years old, but I swear to you, it has one of the most beautiful pictures that you will sit here and you will look at.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so anything that's not 4K, if you're looking at 1080p, anything, it's a gorgeous picture. So PlayStation 4 will go down there. I'll still play games here and there on there, but
I'm just saying, you're not even going to see your PlayStation 4. It's going to be in the living room because you're going to be playing in your room on the 4K. So all that Batman you talking about, that don't even matter. If you don't, like if it was me and it was a dog, let them drop a Spider-Man PlayStation 4 Pro with the game that's probably not coming out for 2 or 3 years. That game's probably not coming out for at least 2 years. It could be the end of next year, but I doubt it. But I doubt it. Like I'm almost positive that joint gets pushed back. Even if they say it's coming next holiday, I bet it gets pushed back. So, because all PlayStation joints all their exclusive joints get pushed back. All of them. They just pushed back Gran Turismo again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And literally, Microsoft execs was like, we ship a racing game every year. I don't know what's wrong. Straight up. These members was on Twitter like, I don't know. Forza joint ship, man. I mean, you know, we bust a joint every year. I don't know what y'all talking about. And the thing about it is Gran Turismo is the best-selling PlayStation exclusive, period. It outsells everything. It outsells Uncharted. It outsells everything. It's their best game. It's their best-selling game. I don't think it's their best game, but it's their best-selling game. So it should be right. Don't get me wrong. I mess with Polyphony Digital. I like them. They do good work. But I don't know if they mess with Turn 10 and Playground anymore. Especially now I got that Warthog for this Forza 3 for like 2 weeks from now.
I can't wait.
That co-op. It's gonna be the truth. Anyway, gentlemen, I think that does it. We've rounded into the hole. Again, I'm underwhelmed. There were some things I liked about what I saw, but there were more things that I felt, I'm gonna say, disappointed. Not that I disliked them, but I felt disappointed about, I think, than I was excited about. And you know, I do, to a certain extent, I feel like Sony has let their fan base down on this one a bit. Do I think there's still some great things to come? Yep, but I'm a little bit. They will be able to say this year that they are the only place to actually do the only way to do 4K gaming on a console. They will be able to say that. They can't technically say it's true 4K, but they will have on their box Black Friday. You know, and we might see some good deals price wise Black Friday. They will be able to have on their box 4K gaming. You know what I mean? So if their marketing is right, they get out there in front and do it the right way. Again, so many people just don't know enough about the differences, and I would be willing to wager that they have a marketing plan that will include buy a PlayStation Pro with a 4K Sony TV that does HDR. It's a great deal at a great price. Boom, 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 boom.
Got to.
So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some of that. And they still have time with the system not coming out for another 2 months to announce, like, a special edition that has, you know, something on it. And you know what I mean? But, like, they don't have any games that are technically coming out to truly take advantage of it. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to update some things and, you know, whatever. But Horizon don't come out till next year. So they don't even have a really good, like, showcase game for it. Because the only thing they got coming out this year is Last Guardian. Which, personally, still looks like a PlayStation 3 game to me. It's probably going to be a great game. But it still looks like a PlayStation 3 game. So, if they market it right and they do it with a TV, have some really good deals, I think that they'll be in a good position. But whatever they do as far as trying to make that happen, I guarantee you that Microsoft is right on top of it with the Xbox One S and, like, Samsung TVs. Like, boom, get these two together and you know you out the door with this. You know what I'm saying? For this price or whatever. 4K, HDR, whatever. So that's the other reason why I'm like, Black Friday deals are usually, on TVs, the TVs are usually fluke. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're, like, missing HDMI ports and stuff like that or whatever. You know, but it might be worth it to wait until Black Friday just to see what's popping. You know you don't have to wait till Black Friday anymore. They released the Black Friday deals like 2 weeks ahead of time now. So, I bet you Amazon is going to be popping. So it's going to be
Cyber Monday too?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be real interesting. Yeah. You know, how that all plays out come the end of this year with all that. But I do think that Sony, while they can say, hey, we could do 4K gaming and nobody else can right now on a console, I do still think that's a harder sell than it is to someone who's just like, well, get a 4K TV and a 4K Blu-ray player. Unless Sony does a ridiculous deal on 4K Blu-ray players with their TV. Like, buy a TV, buy a 4K HDR TV and a PlayStation 4 Pro and get a 4K Sony Blu-ray player for free. Or for like
I can see that.
Or for like $30. You know what I mean? Like, there are still some ways they could freak it. But they'll be losing money hand over fist if they do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
They did it with the 4K player at one point. When you bought certain Sony TVs, they just threw in the 4K media player for you. So, it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, the underhanded, sneaky, tricky thing for them to do would be to be like, we're just going to raise the price on components for Ultra 4K, for Blu-ray. You know what I mean? Because they have some of that. But every other manufacturer out there would be like, you're tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, you better not. You know what I mean? So they kind of can't really do nothing like that. It would be too much. So it's going to be tricky. But I think this war right here is going to push some really good deals. Really good deals, man. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Underwhelmed, and no point of getting one unless you got no point even thinking about getting one until you get a 4K TV.
Don't even think about it.
It's no point till you get a TV in the house that can actually make any use of it.
My man said, don't even consider it. I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, it might make that 60-inch you got look real good off that joint.
It don't look good as it is.
Yeah, it does, but it'll make it look real good better. See, not just real good better.
Real good better? Real good
yeah,
better?
It look real good better. I mean, that's
RGB. Let's go.
Actually, I just came up with their marketing plan, man. Your TV look real good, but now it's gonna look real good better.
Real good, better.
Let's RGB that thing.
Yeah, RGB that joint with HDR.
Real good.
Real good, better. Now with HDR. I don't know, man. I know Sony better put out a 1080p TV with HDR, bruh.
Yeah.
That would be the trick. All right, gentlemen.
Now,
Let's wrap it up. Sincere 619
that is who I be.
at all the socials. Gaming,
Yeah.
you got to replace the I with an L. And
for
Snapchat.
for the Snapchat and for the PlayStation. Everything else, Twitter, IG, Xbox Live, Sincere619. Email me, send.loadedsnacks@gmail.com.
Yeah, if you email him, carbon copy me if it's like hate filled.
Please.
Like ccgaige.loadingsnacks@gmail.com.
Please, I'm looking for it.
By all means. New Joker. My man is New Joker 89 on all the sources that are social. And then what you do is you go to Facebook, you type in New Joker's Adventures, and you get all the hot picks from Baltimore Comic Con.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you do it. Did I miss anything out? Because all the socials and the gamings is New Joker 89, right?
Yep. If you want to shoot me the email, it's newjoker.loadedsnacks@gmail.com.
No 89 on that.
No 89 on that one.
89 on the email. So if you email New Joker 89 at loadingsnacks.gmail, it's somebody else. If you get a response and they asking you for money to donate to Kenya,
it ain't me.
Or Nigeria, don't do it. I just want you to
I
know.
just asked you to make the donation directly to me. So.
Straight up. And for myself, I'm Empty Shells on the socials. That's with a Z. It's MTSHELLZ on the socials. Follow Loading Snacks, just like it sounds, on all the socials, on the Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. If you search Loading Snacks on YouTube, go there. Hit the red button that says subscribe. Give us a few thumbs up on some videos. Please like and share. That would be gratefully helpful. And do the same thing. If you're listening on iTunes, give us a review. Give us a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. And one last thing before we shut it all the way down. I know I got my shirts today. Sin, you got your shirt. We got our shirts. We ran a booster promotion for the fight against leukemia. We donated the proceeds to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. So I just want to thank anybody who's listening, who participated, and picked up a shirt. You should get yours in the next couple of days if you haven't. I talked to some other people who bought a shirt or that donated, and they got emails, and they either should get them today or should get them in the next couple of days. We are going to put together a day, probably sometime next week. I'm thinking Wednesday, for everybody to wear their shirts. But look for that blast on social media and Facebook and so forth, so those who have a shirt can wear it on that same day, so that we can just kind of show our support. It is September, which is Blood Cancer Awareness Month, and that's part of why we did this. Look for us to be doing another campaign for breast cancer for October for next month. Shirts will be just the same, but they'll be pink. And, of course, they won't say leukemia. They'll say breast cancer. But
that'll be odd.
yeah. But, having you guys help us out by doing something like that just gave us the push to know that we're doing something that's positive for the community and to keep doing things like that. So continue to look for stuff like that from us. And again, I just want to thank you. We'll get the word out when it's time to wear the shirts, but obviously feel free to wear your shirt whenever you want to wear it, to show, that you supported something like that. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are going to be in a position to benefit from, what we were able to give. So thank you again. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Toodles and lose.